Hi, everyone. This is our July 1st, 2021 Financial Freedom, Get Out of Debt, Adopt a Thrive Budget video conference. So we're going to be discussing all of that. Now, I feel like I'm a bit of an expert here because as a young single mother, I was struggling to survive, and I was reading all the books about how I could, make ends meet and all of this sort of stuff. And it was baloney because it was kind of telling me that I was a shopaholic, and if I just wasn't spending so much that I would be doing okay. And I knew that that wasn't the issue. I wasn't spending that much money. It was my basic needs that were astronomical. My son and I hadn't had ice cream in a very long time. Forget about even like good shoes for him. So we're going to talk about how I lived my way into the answer and then wrote the book about how you can do it too. All right. We'll see you in a few. All right, so I'm going to share some things about debt that many people are just, it seems kind of obvious to me, but people are not adding this up. A debt problem is a budgeting problem. So if you don't ever address your budget, you're never going to get out of debt. You might get out of it for a short period of time, but if you don't fix the budgeting issue, you're always going to be dogged by debt. Another thing that people are not aware of about debt is that paying your debt, paying your credit card on time, paying your bills on time, that's only 30% of your score, your FICO score. So if you're paying the minimum amount and your debt is increasing, or even worse, if you buy an asset like a home, and you buy it at an all-time high and then it loses a lot of value and your mortgage is more than your home is worth, then your credit score goes in the toilet as well. So let's take a look at what the FICO score is made up of so that you get a sense of what I'm talking about. So yes, a little over a third is your payment history. 30% is your assets to debt. So part of the way of getting out of debt is actually to start increasing what your net worth is, because then your debt is a smaller portion. That's what corporations do in order to achieve a high credit rating, is if they have a lot of cash and they have a very small amount of debt and they have a good value on their company, then they're going to have a higher credit score than if they have a lot of debt. In fact, we've talked about this, that over half of the S&P 500 right now has so much debt that they are either at or near junk bond status. That means speculative, which means they're very close to having to restructure their debt. So back to you and your debt issue. So the first thing is to start getting a grip on what the cause is, the root cause, and then also that just making the payments on time, especially if it's only the minimum amount, is not helping as much as you think it is. It is, of course, important that you pay your bills, and it's important that you pay your bills on time. But not understanding that it's a budgeting issue and not understanding that the ballooning debt could be burying your credit score too, those two things would be something that would keep you kind of trapped in this cycle as well. So what can you do about it? Let's talk about how you can fix this issue, which is at its core a budgeting issue. Well, the first thing you need to know is, what is your budget? So you can email us at info@nataliepace.com and ask for your free web apps, or you can actually go to nataliepace.com and click on the free web apps and you'll get them emailed, the links emailed directly to you. So here at the web app, you can see you answer one question: what is your total annual income? So if your total annual income is $100,000, then, make sure I got that right, then what you see is that you should be spending $50,000 or less on basic needs. So a thrive budget is 50% to thrive and 50% to survive. So if you are spending more than half of your income on your housing, your transportation, your food, your basic clothing, and your debt and your taxes, then you're not thriving and you're at risk of going into credit card debt because your basic needs are taking up too much of your income. We'll talk about how to fix this, because a lot of people, again, if you're reading the conventional wisdom, they're saying, hey, if you just cut out cafe lattes and stop eating all that avocado toast, you're going to be fine. But that's not the issue. The issue is that wages have stagnated for 20 years. And a lot of our costs have gone absolutely astronomical. Housing is unaffordable. Transportation is crazy. Health insurance, if you're an American, is outlandish. All of these things add up. And in fact, earned income is the highest tax bracket. You've heard Warren Buffett say repeatedly that he pays less in taxes than his executive assistant. That's true, because passive income is taxed in a lower tax bracket. So what can you do about all this? Let's talk about some steps that you can take to start right now getting out of debt. Here's a 10-step plan, and this is from the ABCs of Money. So you can go to nataliepace.com, click on the ABCs of Money book cover, and you can see that the Kindle version is under $5. So this is affordable. There's an entire section on debt in there, and that's going to help you. And this is from that section on debt. Pay yourself first. Now, remember, if the FICO score is 30% of it is going to be the amount you owe, it's actually an assets to debt ratio. So the more you're worth, the lower your assets to debt ratio is going to be. So by actually depositing 10% of your income religiously into tax protected retirement accounts, you're increasing your net worth. If that earns a 10% annualized gain, then every 7.5 years, you're going to be doubling your money. So this is really key, is to learn how to invest. A lot of people are doing the simple wrong math when they say, I'm going to start saving and investing once I get out of debt. That's actually not a good idea. It's a better idea to start saving and investing now, which is going to increase your assets, which is going to reduce the net debt to assets ratio, which is going to increase your FICO score. And it's also going to allow you to pay back your debt easier. And by the way, if you adopt a Thrive budget and you start getting your basic needs under control, and there's ways to do that, I'm proof, then you're going to have more money to pay down that debt much quicker. Okay? So let's go back to the 10-step plan real quickly. So the first thing you want to do is pay yourself first and learn how to invest it. That's going to increase your income. In fact, having your income increase through passive income strategies means that you can earn money while you sleep. Now, another big piece of this is that you do have to decrease expenses. And again, cutting out cafe lattes and avocado toast is only going to go so far. That might be hundreds of dollars annually. What's really going to be the game changer is if you can reduce your big ticket expenses. For me, I moved in with another single mom. We got a bigger house in a better neighborhood, and I was paying about a third of what I would have paid if I got a house just for myself and my son. So multi-generational housing is now very popular. Start thinking of that. Is multi-generational housing right for you? Is moving in with a friend right for you? Is having roommates right for you? Having every single person in their own little tiny apartment is the most expensive basic needs expenditures. Another way that you can actually make ends meet a little bit better would be to think about a health savings account. If you're healthy and you're paying an arm and a leg for health insurance, then think about going to that highest deductible. You're going to save, and some people save tens of thousands of dollars annually by doing that, by the way. And you fund your own health savings account, you get a tax credit. It's like a triple win-win. So that's the way that I want you to think about this is not, I don't want you to be a shopaholic. I don't want you to eat out every night. And I certainly don't want you to drink, and disposable cafe lattes every day, because I'm also concerned about the environment. But what's really going to transform your life is to think about housing, transportation, and insurance. When I wanted to go back to college as a young single mom, I rode a bike and I got rid of the car. That saved, on average, that'll save $7,500 per year. When you add up the car payment, the gasoline, the insurance, and the maintenance. So there are ways that you honestly, a lot of people say, oh, I'll take these steps and then eventually I'll get there. If you make bold choices, if you rode a bike and you were able to, if you moved in with someone and cut your housing costs down by half or more, it's not a step-by-step plan. Your life changes immediately. And you have a lot more money to pay down that debt. And by the way, paying down the high interest debt first is a very good idea. Getting it rolled over as your credit score improves, you'll be able to roll it over into 0% interest for a limited period of time. That's a good idea while you start paying things off. Keep paying yourself first, keep learning how to invest so you can increase your income money while you sleep. Now, again, I talked about health savings accounts. So what happens a lot is that people, instead of increasing income and decreasing expenses and doing it methodically, they think, oh, I'll just consolidate my debt. Well, the interesting thing here is that there's a lot of fraud and phishing and scams that go on in that sort of thing. So sometimes people pay an exorbitant amount of money and they don't get anything close to what they think they were going to get. So the best thing for you to do is actually to increase income, hopefully passive income, decrease expenses dramatically, pay off the high interest rate debt first, try to get into a 0% plan for a limited time so that you can start paying everything off. Learn to live within your means is not cutting out cafe lattes and avocado toast. It's thinking creatively about how to make ends meet in a world that really doesn't add up. So in other words, it's not necessarily your fault, but if you don't live in the 21st century and you're still trying to live in the 20th century and the nuclear family and all of that, chances are you're going to be in debt. So let's see a couple of other things that I think you should be aware of. Just as in business, if you're really out over your skis and getting yourself right-sized looks like it's going to be a 10 or a 15-year process, you might be better served by putting the unthinkable on the table. It's called bankruptcy and people get freaked out about it. But if for some reason something happened in your life, look, in retirement, a lot of the biggest reason why people go get bankrupt is healthcare costs. By the way, that health savings account is going to be your best long-term healthcare insurance. So that's another reason to do it and to start when you're young. So in the ABCs of money, there are resources and there are ways that you can start thinking about whether or not restructuring your debt is going to be right for you. It depends on your circumstance. So the other warning I want to say is that real estate is really high priced right now. And one of the worst things that you can do for your credit score in your life is to buy real estate high and then have the market drop. We're going to have more inventory in the marketplace come fall. Prices could start dropping. in the fall. So buying right now at an all-time high is not necessarily the best plan. So we do spend a full day on what's safe, and that includes a lot about real estate strategies in my investor educational retreat. So you might think about coming to that as well if you want to buy a home, and if you're thinking that if you just owned your own home, that everything would make a lot more sense. Think about coming to the October retreat. It's October 9th through the 11th. If you put together a group, it's going to cost you a lot less than if you come by yourself. In the 21st century, thinking of it as a tribe, as your people, rather than you as a lone little wolf and the nuclear family, is going to serve you pretty well. I know it means that you have to compromise, but if you have a lot more money and you can actually go on vacations and you can pay off your debt, chances are it might be a much richer life for you, even though you might think it's not. All right, so I am going to be recording a 21-day coaching program for getting out of debt and starting thinking more about prosperity and abundance. I'm going to start recording that this weekend because it's the 4th of July, financial independence in the US. And it's the Independence Day I'm associating with financial independence. So I am going to start recording this 21-day program. All you need to do to get access to it, it's going to be free, is to email info@nataliepace.com and say, I want my free financial freedom coaching package. All right, thank you for joining me. I look forward to hearing your success stories. I want you to be my best testimonial. And I guarantee you that if you make bold, brave moves with a time-proven plan, your life changes. The change starts instantly. It's not like you have to it is step-by-step plan in that pay off this high interest rate debt first, roll over into the lower interest rates, start in learning how to invest in financial education. By the way, that is one other thing I want to show you before we sign off, is that in the Thrive budget, these things are not frivolous. Putting 10% into a tax protected retirement account, and by the way, health savings accounts qualify for that too, 401ks, IRAs, HSAs, that's how you start increasing your wealth. That increases your income. It's money while you sleep. 10% to charity, because charity is the best networking. Every raise and promotion I've ever had, and the key to my dream come true life has actually been through the road of charity. So don't underestimate it. That's where your people are. If you don't have money, then donate time or talent, because when you contribute to a charity, you are psychologically telling yourself that you're giving from the overflow. And if you're not doing that, if you're telling yourself, I'm doing this, and you're plodding through it, it's the wrong mindset to have. And you really need that 21-day coaching program to get the mindset right, to learn how to give from the overflow, and to adopt the Thrive budget. Also education, because you're going to need to know how to invest your money better. Do not just think that all financial education is the same. It's not. Again, just like you could have 20th century budgeting strategies, you could be using last century investing strategies that don't work in the 21st century. A lot of people are. So invest in the Financial Freedom Retreat, October 9th through the 11th. That is so that you can actually earn greater gains in your nest egg that you're going to be building, because you're now adopting a Thrive budget and you're not making everybody else rich at your own expense. Fun is free endorphins. It makes life worth living, but it's also healthy for you. If you're not having any fun, it's very hard to have the vision to get out of debt. So if you're just consumed by debt and you get the debt collector calls in the morning and you're thinking about paying off debt, you are mired in debt consciousness, and it's a dark cloud that's kind of like circles around you wherever you go. You actually need to be in prosperity and abundance mindset. You need to adopt a Thrive budget. You need to have a plan for paying down the debt. You might need to put the unthinkable on the table. You need to educate yourself about how to invest your money so that you can earn money while you sleep and have it double every 7.5 years. And all of that is going to depend on you being a much happier person. Healthy, happy people can work and solve problems. Unhealthy, unhappy people get depressed and they kind of tend to get stuck in whatever problem that they have. Not a diss against depression. If you're depressed, then let's get you out of it. Part of the solution might be a solution for your real problems, right? Certainly, depression can be, something that psychologists and psychiatrists can deal with. But if your depression is actually linked to you having a financial problem, solving the financial problem is going to be key for you. All right, I want to thank you again for joining me, and I will be putting out that 21-day coaching program. Email us at info@nataliepace.com. And just, again, if you want the coaching program, just say, I want my free financial freedom coaching program. If you're interested in the retreat, just say, I'm interested in the retreat. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Again, nataliepace.com, 310-430-2397, info@nataliepace.com. And you can watch this back at youtube.com/Natalie Pace. Thanks again. I look forward to speaking with you soon and sharing that coaching package with you very soon as well.